Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
I'd like to call to order the August 17th meeting of the River Advisory Committee of Exeter. And for the recording secretary's benefit, we need to do a roll call so she knows who's here. So,
Sure. Warren Biggins.
Rod Borden.
Lionel Ingram.
Richard Huber.
Dan Jones.
Okay. And the first order of business is, I know you've pored over these draft minutes, and I want to ask whether anybody has seen anything that needs correcting. The dates and times seem to be correct to me this time. The one thing I will mention is that this is a really historic document because it documents Healthy Lawns and Clean Water program just before we had tremendous rain and tornado warnings and sorts of things. I want to ask how that's been different. And then we see Paul's telling us all about the lead up to the special town meeting. So that will be part of the historical record forever. You know. So, does anybody have any corrections to the minutes?
Look good.
All in favor of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And all abstaining? Okay, it's unanimous. 5 votes for approving the minutes. Okay, normally we would have Paul come and talk to us about the status of things, but not sure. You were saying there wasn't much to report on pickpocket.
Hello, Paul Velocich, Town Engineer, Interim Public Works Director, and yeah, there's not much to talk about on Pickpocket Dam. Must be the vacation time. I even had trouble getting a hold of the consultants for any type of updates on what they've been working on. But what I can say is that we got our final report in for the Coastal Resilience Grant. That was the $40,000 figure. And with that, we had Jacob San Antonio here for a meeting that went over a presentation of their findings, too. So that final report made it in on time, and we're good. One of the things I'd like to refresh your memory on with the Pickpocket Dam, though, is a potential next meeting for that, where the consultant would probably have something to say about it. And we had planned this out early on, and the Coastal Resilience Grant was not the only grant that we had with this project. We also had a stormwater planning grant, and that equated to $100,000 as part of the feasibility study too. And we're gauging that somewhere around October would be a good time for an update. Now, I know that my schedule is going to be pretty tight in October. There's going to be 3 Thursdays that I won't be around, so it'll either have to be the first Thursday of that month or the very next Thursday in November. And I didn't try to coordinate with the consultants yet or whatever, but I'm just giving you a little heads up of what I'm thinking for that.
Which do you recommend?
Later.
Later? I thought so.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if everybody can clear out on a first and second Thursday because the tradition's the third Thursday. So do you think the third Thursday of November would be, of course, that's Thanksgiving. I don't know how that hits with Thanksgiving. But I'm wondering if we can do a first or second Thursday without causing trouble from the other people who need this space.
Give me just a second. So what I did is I took pause to look at the little color-coded schedule that we had before, and that was up on the presentation part. And it seems that the final draft of the, a draft of the final report would be due in January, and so this is only a couple of months before that. you'd have an update, and all of a sudden, 2 months later, you've got the final draft, not the final draft, the draft of the final report.
Yeah.
So if you waited till Thanksgiving, that's not a lot of time in between those. You'd almost be hearing some of the same stuff. Let me stop talking and over the next couple of weeks or so, find out from the consultant what he's thinking about for when he'd be ready to give us any information there. Enough information to have a meeting on. And it's also important somewhere around this October timeframe too, because of one of the grant requirements too of presenting some of the preliminary stuff also, which Deb Lazelle might be a participant in also.
Okay, so I'm hearing that September doesn't make sense for another meeting. October may make sense depending on what you find out for us.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, I got to put that caveat of where I'll be able to fit in on that, which wasn't a lot of those opportunities in there. But
Can't you zoom in from your camping trip when you're not shooting things?
let me think about that again. No. Sorry about that. Sorry. I do that to my kids all the time, so I apologize.
Okay, so you'll get back to me about what's possible
Yeah,
in
I'll
October.
see what's possible. So.
Okay. And then November, we've got to be cautious about colliding with Thanksgiving. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's the fourth. Thanksgiving's the fourth Thursday.
Oh, okay. So we could do a third Thursday if we didn't want to interfere too much with Thanksgiving.
I think that's what I just read.
There isn't anything else that, besides Pickpocket Dam, that are issues for the River Committee to deal with?
Well, we didn't have a meeting last month,
Yeah.
but we did have
Presentation.
presentation and stuff here too, and that was televised. So folks that are tuning into this particular meeting that wanted to know about that, that's on the town website. That you can take a look at that.
Okay, well, let me ask Kristen as well as Paul. We've been away for 2 months. In that time, we've had incredible weather. We were starting with droughts, and then we had floods. We were seeing some places where roadways are damaged from the water. There's some question about the groundwater affecting the ocean water that comes into the ground, and in some places that's a problem because it's mingling. I just wonder if anything's happened in the last several weeks that we should think about in terms of the residualness of Exeter. I don't think I've been affected by the flooding, but I don't know about all of Exeter, but right to our west and north, there was a lot of problems. And in Keene, there was a tornado. We had 2 tornado warnings that I had to think about. What do you think about all that happening, and how does that change the picture of how resilient Exeter can be with the new climate issues?
Well, the only thing that comes to mind for me right at the moment is we're not dealing with a drought situation.
Yeah, drought medicine has happened, yeah.
Or tipped off, or however you want to word it. And so the groundwater supplies are doing pretty good right now. Yeah, and as far as some of the heavy rains too, we have the construction project down on the siphon area, and during one of the high tides there, we did have water in the roadway that worked its way back through the catch basins there, but that went away when the tide lowered also.
Yeah. Kristen, any thoughts about?
Question was, well, how'd the vote come out yesterday?
Oh, that's the next thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on the list.
Oh, okay.
So I don't really have anything to add about that. I mean, we've not seen, this has been the wettest, I think the wettest summer on record, so it's something that we have to contend with. We've had some small breaches on construction sites that I'm aware of, but nothing, there hasn't been major flooding events like we're familiar with in the past. So I can't really point to anything that changes what we've been doing and planning for in the past,
And we can hope to be resilient in spite of all the new intense weather that everybody's getting.
Yeah, we're in the process of updating our hazard mitigation plan. I think that includes future climate conditions, so I think we're doing what we can do.
Keep an eye on
The challenge
southern-
is things are unpredictable, right? So.
Some things are predictable. Southern California is about to deal with a real hurricane, I guess. And
Yeah.
things are very strange right now. Thank you.
I think Parks and Rec is probably the ones that had the biggest trouble from this. They got to keep mowing.
Yeah. Well, now, the other thing that was mentioned at great detail in the draft minutes from Paul was the upcoming special town meeting and election. And by the way, it's got thorough page coverage in today's Foster's. And Nico is quoted many times in here. 363 people voted, and 92% of them voted yes. And that's going to turn loose the siphon project so it can proceed, I guess. So, and I'm hearing from this newspaper article that if nothing goes wrong, we could have it completed by spring. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the special town meeting, the residents voted for the project. They voted for the $3.5 million. What's happening right now is the paperwork for an amendment to the state revolving clean water fund is in process. We have to do a change order with the consultant for the project. Once the money is, the loan is verified and we're in agreement with the change order, then signatures will be done from there. What's happening today, the pipe was pulled through successfully on Tuesday. So we have one 12-inch HDPE barrel underneath the river. It was fully tested today. It passed its test very easily. And so cleanup is happening right at we anticipate the contractor coming back in November, starting the whole process over again of drilling another HDPE pipe across the river. We anticipate that'll take at least a couple of months, and then after that, there has to be the inlet and outlet structures and the other pipe that connects to the existing system hooked up also. So there's probably a couple months of work doing those structures and the additional sewer pipe to make it work. After that, up in the spring and do the cleanup, get things growing correctly and everything repaired beyond that. So that is the general game plan right now. Do I have specific dates on stuff? Not yet, but that was the game plan all along, not all along, for the last couple of months when the idea for this special town vote happened. This was the preliminary schedule that was laid out that still seems to be the most current.
And is that adversely affected by winter or flooding or tides or anything like that? Can they do all of those things in spite of the weather?
They can.
Yeah.
They can. Especially the drilling.
You're underwater.
And you're I don't know how far below ground level, but 16 feet below the bottom of the river with that. So that process can happen. It's more when you got the excavator that's relaying some large size gravity pipes that maybe winter will affect that, and maybe they'll stop for a little bit if it gets too bad and then pick up again as spring gets a little closer. But I think this coming spring we ought to have a complete project.
Okay. Are there any other issues that a River Advisory Committee should be looking at?
Well, we talked about some of the grants, and you even mentioned that Kristen has been chaperoning one of them with the fertilizer program.
Yeah.
The sister to that happening with the same consultant is the advanced septic system analysis there of does it make sense to have these and to incentivize them. We're not even going to get a draft report to look at in my office for another month or so. So maybe around that same October timeframe, we might have something to talk about also. And certainly after that, we should be having something to talk about.
Okay. I would ask all the members of the committee, here or not here, to give that some thought about what the River Committee should be addressing in the future. Yeah. Okay. Other business. Any other business? Any public comment? Do we have any public? Okay. Are we ready to take a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Lionel moves to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Yeah, our next call for the next meeting is at the chair.
Yeah, we don't know, Rod Bourdon seconded. We don't know what our next meeting is going to do. Paul's going to get back to me with what makes sense in October. And then I'll send that out as an email.
Meet again at the call of the chair.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, I guess I have to hit this now, right?
Into Exeter
All right,
TV.
well, not-
Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Bi-Weekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofit